Hi, welcome to Preps Plus Podcast, episode 32. I'm Jason Leskew, Preps reporter here at the Daily News, and this podcast has been brought to you by Sterling Auto Group. We're going to kind of forego the pleasantries in this one. There's a few basketball games left for each team and across all divisions, and I think pretty much everybody know where things stand. And in the next podcast, I think we'll be talking some playoff picture, maybe a final game that could decide, how a league ultimately shakes out. We'll also, I think, discuss some RPI stuff and, all the things that go with that. So without further ado, I'd like to get into an interview here with RA Long coach Rally Wallace, who is retiring at the end of this season. R.A. Long and Mark Morris, of course, face off Saturday night. The girls Friday night, the boys Saturday night. And that'll be Raleigh's final Civil War game after coaching in the area for close to 30 years and with R.A. Long for the last 12 years as a head coach with 2 more years as an assistant on top of that. So we're going to jump right into that, and thanks for bearing with me over this 90-second stretch. All right, here with Rally Wallace, head coach of R.A. Long basketball for the last 12 years. I guess the last 3 been co-coach. I know how, but yeah, been here quite a while. You were here as an assistant for 2 years prior to that, too.
Yeah,
right?
I was here as an assistant with Kyle Fowler for a season on Kyle's last year, and then I was here many years before that. When I first came into the district, I was Dave Polk's assistant and the JV coach. So, yeah, I've been around this program. Plus, I taught at Monticello for 15 years before coming here, and that's, of course, right across the street. So I've been around here quite a long time.
Okay. First question, I know before I hit record, I asked about the emotions of the final Civil War game. And my guess is that, knowing you a little bit, that it'll be an emotional kind of roller coaster, and you might not know it till, this is just my guess, but until, the tip-off starts, and then what do you think? I mean, what's your...
One side of me is going to say, wow, I don't have to go through this type of pressure and animosity and just the integrities of the game itself, with the players and the coaches and the fans and the cheerleaders and the student body section and just all of that. That's just like just makes your stomach boil. So one side is saying, wow, I don't have to deal with that anymore. But then the other side is like, what's life going to be like without it? You draw off of that. You do. Right. You really draw off of it. And so, I'm not really sure how I'm going to feel.
All right. And then it sounded like you didn't have any plans for, obviously you still teach, and then I'm guessing takes up quite a bit of time. But the summers in particular sounds like might be kind of free. So you're going to be fishing? Or?
Well, in the summer, in the past, Connor's had baseball and basketball during the summertime and football. So I was busy, getting to him to all that stuff and taking care of that. And of course, our summer basketball program that we have in June and going into early July. So yeah, I'm going to fish, definitely, because that's a hobby that I picked up here the last 4 or 5 years, that when I do have some free time, I grew up on the Cowlitz River, so right. My folks have a place down there, so I go down there quite a bit and fish on the Cowlitz, and so I think that's kind of be my passion. I'm not a very good golfer, but I like playing golf. Okay. And I also played a lot of tennis, but I don't know if my body can handle it. I've arthritis in both knees, and they say I need knee replacement. And I had a herniated disc in my back here a while back, and so I'm pretty beat up, so I don't know how the tennis gig's going to go. But if I can get myself in good enough shape, my plan is to eat healthier and exercise more instead of having stuff on my mind all the time that's
Right.
important to deal with. Okay, I got to plan for summer basketball. I got to plan for team camp. I got to plan for how am I going to get these kids to be able to pay for this and pay for that. What's the schedule going to be like? Am I going to have enough C kids to play over in Kelso or not? And how, are they playing baseball? I mean, just
Right.
all those things that are on your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what it's going to be like. So it's going to be different. So I don't know. I might just be sitting here.
So it sounds like kind of a mental unpacking and kind of mental unloading.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I've always had something to do.
Right.
Something to do. Now I have things I can do, but it's not something I have to do.
Right.
But I've had things I've had to do to deal with. And so I might be just sitting here in my chair like this going. But I think one of the things that I have been thinking about is that I had of all the stats for the last 14 years of being a part of the program I have, but my computer crashed that I had the first 8 seasons on it.
Okay.
And so I have 8 seasons of stats that I would like to put into a new computer program that I have, and to get that all up to date. And then it's like, wow, who is our leaders for these years? And those, and just kind of have it. And for the next coach, whoever's interested in, or whoever gets a job or whatever, if they want to look back on some things in the past 15 years, 14 years, how it's been here, and trends or whatever. So that was one of the things I was thinking about. And another thing was I was wanting to organize all of the game films.
Okay.
And so I have a couple of things in mind. I don't know if I'll get to them or not, but that's just a couple of things that I have on my mind. If I do get really bored, and I want to stay to it, and I want to reminisce and remember about things, then that's something I can go to. So I remember that. Freaking got screwed by that ref again. So I don't know. So
going back to coaching, then basically
probably going back to whatever. So I don't know. It's something to do with sport.
It's funny that you mentioned it, because I was just yesterday I was talking with Scott Pasapian about and obviously you guys have stayed in contact.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. Yeah.
Played under you for 3 seasons. It sounded like, and one thing he said in starting Roots and keeping it going, one of the biggest things he took from you was your organizational skills, and your dedication to staying organized, making sure practices started at a certain time, making sure the transition from running shuttles to shooting happened at a certain time. And it sounded like, after talking with him, that was one of the things you
one of my mottos is that I believe that organization is a key to success. Not the key, but a key to success. And I've kind of lived by that. And I've got 5, 3, 4, I got 5 in here. I've got 3 in there. I have 8 large chests full of stuff that I have, and it's all organized.
Okay. Is that all those 20 drawers? Are those all basketball?
I've got one little small thing of school in the top 2 there. Everything else was basketball.
And you have 3 more of those?
I have 3 more in another room in there.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I think you could spend probably quite a bit of time just uploading that to Google.
I honestly still have every basketball scorebook from every team I've ever coached, from middle school girls to high school boys varsity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they going to let you keep all the stuff here?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to have to probably give up that room there that's got 3 file cabinets in there, because the next coach will need to put his stuff in there. So I might maybe throw some stuff out. I did have another whole full file cabinet full of school stuff when I was a health teacher. But now that I'm not teaching health anymore, so I got rid of that and filled it with basketball and whatnot.
Okay.
More basketball stuff. But yeah, I'll probably have to do some house cleaning and get rid of at least 3 of them. So
okay, obviously you got plenty of trophies.
I don't have a man cave at home, believe it or not.
Okay.
That's because our house is just too small. It was when my wife and I bought the house, it's just the 2 of us and our daughter, and then we had our son. And at the time, it seemed like a big house.
Right.
But as we got older, of course, and I like to keep everything pretty much, and because I'm raised on a farm, so
right.
And so now we don't have a whole lot of space, and so I think I'm going to have to do some house cleaning here. I think that's another one of the things that I can probably do with my free time is
there you go,
is do some house cleaning. Or
is this as a suggestion from one guy to another. I think if you have a good sized backyard, hit up Home Depot, and they will be more than happy to help you build a shed. So,
absolutely,
yeah. So a lot of people, would see you as Raleigh the teacher, Raleigh the coach, but they don't see you as Raleigh the dad, Raleigh the husband, Raleigh the everyday person. So how much has, one thing I was wondering is how much does your day-to-day interactions or just experiences go into time on the basketball court? Lessons you've learned throughout just taking a walk somewhere, going to the grocery store, or what have you.
I'm not really sure I understand what you're asking me right now.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, you're obviously a person. You have life outside of RA Long.
Like when I go to the store and I bump into people, they kind of see me with my wife grocery shopping and stuff like that. Yeah. A lot of it comes back to, hey, how's the team doing? People always ask me those types of questions. But I'm very family oriented, very close to my family. I've had nephews and cousins that have been athletes, and I try to follow their games and do that sort of stuff with my family. We always have lots of get-togethers, 4th of July and Memorial Day and Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter. Both sides of our family. So I'm very close to both sides of my family, my wife's side and our side, my side, and so spend a lot of time there. But I think most of my kids that I teach, they mostly see me as a teacher.
Okay.
And people that are fans that go watch basketball and football and whatever the sports are, they see me as the coach.
Right.
And really hardly anybody sees me as the dad and the parent or the husband. And the only people that really see me in that role are my close friends.
Right.
Some of my coaching colleagues and of course my own family. So, and so basically, yeah, those are, so the parent / husband, you don't see that hardly at all.
Right.
Unless it's like it says with your own circle.
Right.
But like I said, outside of school, people see me as a coach. Inside of school, they see me as the teacher unless they're on the teams. So, yeah. Okay. And it's like I had kids that would be student assistants, TAs and things like that. They have a completely different opinion of me from being in my class a few years ago to being somebody grading papers for me or something. Like, you're a lot different than I thought, Mr. Wallace. They get, I'm a real person, man.
Yeah, right.
I really am. I have opinions, and I feel bad about this and good about that.
Right.
I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a regular guy, man, just like everybody else out in the world. And perception of people is a powerful thing, and sometimes people don't always get the right perception of you, and that can be frustrating, So, but
okay. On that note, so I was talking with Bill Backus yesterday after their game, and he said Raleigh and I have been good friends since high school, and we'll be much better friends when he's done coaching. Is that first off? Is that a fair assumption?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's been Billy. Billy's. We go back. Back to college and running around, having fun, playing on the same team together, and then me coming to town, helping out at RA Long for a year or two, and then getting over to LCC for 9 years. And during that time, Bill and I we always hung out together, a lot, especially at his place because Bill's home is open and people can come and hang out all the time and at any time. And so I spent a lot of time at Bill's house. And then after I started coaching over here at RA Long, I start getting the RA Long attitude. And honestly, I wish them, what's wrong with all the RA Long people? Why do they say Mark Morris this and Mark Morris that? Because when I was at Mark Morris, I loved the people. I loved the coaching staff. Bill allowed me to coach. It was awesome. I loved it there.
Right.
And then I get over here and I start coaching here, and I see a whole different type of culture, a whole different type of understanding, and the other side of the fence, and the other side of the story. There's two sides to every story, and their story's right, and so's ours.
Right.
And and so Yeah, I honestly believe that it's taken our relationship back a little bit, but I still have the utmost respect for Bill, and I think he respects me too. I'm a different type of person than he is. We're different. We're kind of from the same era, the same hard work foundation, foundation of work, same kind of era, but he does things a little differently. I do. I deal with a little bit different culture than he does, and so I see things, a little more diversity in things than he does. But yeah, he's on the red team, or he's on the blue and red team. I'm on the red and black team.
Right.
And there's going to be a divide there, and I think obviously when I'm done doing this, and I won't have so much at stake, that we're still fine. We're still fine. We're still friends, but I think obviously it'll probably get back to what it was like before I was the coach here. Sweatshirt with all the kids' names on that team that went 20-0, and we had some tough teams we played.
Okay.
And it was really neat accomplishment. And I don't know, there's not many teams that go 20-0, especially at the lower levels.
Right.
So many things can happen at the lower level.
Right.
And so I had some good players, and I thought I coached them up, and we had some luck too. You got to have all of that. You got to have things go your way if you're going to go 20-0 at the lower levels. So.
And when that team, I'm assuming, was mostly freshmen.
All freshmen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
might have been a sophomore in there. I can't recall right now. I have to go back and look at the names, but.
Okay. So what was the experience like going 20-0 regular season and making it to a state?
What I recall most about that was the pressure of winning that last game.
Okay.
And it was against Kelso.
Okay.
And they had a shot at the buzzer, a half-court shot or a three-quarter shot that almost went in. And they had a pretty decent team too, Kelso, that year.
Okay.
And for some reason, I don't know why it was the last game of the season. I don't know why, but it might have been a makeup game or something with weather. I can't recall, but I just remember that Kelso came out and just, because let's face it, Ari Long, Kelso, Mark Morris, the rivalry is there.
Right.
And everybody comes to play. And we played them earlier in the year, and I think we handled them no problem. But things were going that way. I remember it was over at LCC, and I just remember how, when that game was over, how relieved I felt.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing I remember about that. So.
Yeah. Watching the shot falling, did you almost fall to your knees with it?
Oh, God. It was... Honestly, it was so long ago, but I know that, my heart would have sunk if it had gone in.
Right.
Obviously would have sunk. I know that much. But I remember the glee and the pleasure and the euphoria that I felt of the shot not going in. And so, that was really neat. It was a special team I coached over there.
Okay. Now, I can almost relate to it. I'd have to imagine that some Kelso fans might have been pulling for you guys a little bit. And the reason I say that, so as I was saying, my dad was a high school teacher, and so De La Salle High School in Concord, California, when they played College Park, my dad's school, in the game that broke the win streak record. And so I don't think there was a single person in that stadium that wasn't pulling for De La Salle, at least a little bit. You could have been. And they had a lot of haters just because they were able to they were private and they were able to recruit. They had Maurice Jones-Drew and basically, all the starters on that team, just about everybody went to D1 schools, and a good number of those guys went pro. So they had a good program, and so obviously a lot of people hated them, but everybody was pulling for them to break the record and remain undefeated in that stretch. So. I guess that same situation for. Well,
I don't know if that's quite that level. We were talking about C-team basketball, but for me personally, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Doesn't matter if it's C-team girls or fourth grade boys, man. Right. When your championship's on the line, you have a chance to do something. And people say this all the time. The big time's where you're at. And so I believe that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Going back to last January. When R.A. Long beat Mark Morris, broke their streak. You were emotional. What was the feeling like after, the next day or two? Was there that feeling of joy that continued on?
Absolutely. I still feel it right now.
Okay.
I mean, it's when you get beat down, you beat a dead horse with a stick. That's what it was like. And when you get beat down that bad, and when you finally come through, it's just like it's just like a wave of emotion coming on you, and it's just such a awesome feeling to have that you finally did something. You finally did something that you haven't done for such a long time, and you got the monkey off your back, so to speak. So yeah, it was a neat feeling, and I'll never forget, because right after it was over, I found out my dad was in the hospital with 7 broken ribs, and he's 78 years old, and he was going to come to the game, and he got hurt. My mom didn't tell me about it until after the game was over.
Jeez.
Because so he was in pretty tough shape at the hospital. So after that, I was looking forward to going out and celebrating with all the coaches and the wives, but I ended up going over to the hospital to see my dad, and then I did get together with a couple of the coaches later, but it was a different it was kind of weird,
right?
Because my dad, they didn't know, he was touchy when you have broken ribs when you're that age, and so it was kind of a really weird thing. It was really weird. So, but yeah, I'll never forget that day as long as I live.
Right. Was he able to listen to it on the radio or anything like that?
No, he wasn't able to. Nothing. He didn't know until we came over and told him. And I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Okay.
From Dad.
Nice. Okay.
So.
All right. Let's see. So, wrapping up, kind of going back to some general stuff. What are you going to miss the most about coaching at Rally Long and the Civil War games?
The kids, the characters, whether it's Rally Long or Monticello or LCC, it's always the crew, the kids that you're working with. They're so funny. The kids are so funny. They have such great spirit. And to see them develop to turn into men, to learn life lessons, to win games, to lose games, the feelings of those things, being with a group of kids, going to team dinners like we're getting ready to go to one here in a little while, being a part of that, and just the camaraderie of all of that. And coaching here at Rally Long is a school that's, one of those schools that's always got a chip on the shoulder. It's one of those, we're an underdog school. We always have been here.
Right.
And I'm going to miss, trying to knock somebody off, or, trying to break through, being those guys that nobody wants to play at the end of the season, and being one of those guys that are right there in a team that made it to state. I had one of those teams, and we were knocking on a door probably 4 or 5 other times where we were a few points from making it to state on many other occasions. So we've had a lot of that, those different types of teams here, teams that have went 3-17 2 years in a row. And then of course we're struggling this year right now. And so, I've been a part of the highs and the lows. And so, when you're with a group of kids that, people don't give a lot of respect to, and you succeed or you learn and you develop with them, I'm going to miss that about Rally Long being a coach here. Okay. As far as the rivalry with Mark Morris, I've coached at different levels and different places, and I've been a part of other programs, and this is a special rivalry. And not being a part of it is going to be, wow, I'm going to be sitting in the stands and going, I should be down there. I see that happening. So
right.
I could be making a difference right now, or I could have something good to say right now, or I'd be doing this, or I'd be doing that, and wow, what a good play, and so I'm gonna miss that, and people slapping you on the back and say, good game, coach. I'm gonna miss that kind of stuff, and the handshakes after the game's over, win or lose, just that, I guess. Okay. But I'm not gonna miss all of the other stuff.
Right.
I'm better than you, or our school's better than your school, and you recruit or you don't recruit, or your players are mean or whatever, or dirty or whatever, and the officials aren't fair, or the fans giving you that funny look. Oh,
Right.
here comes the RA Long guys, and looking at them, and I'm not gonna miss that at all.
Right.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna miss that.
Okay.
And having to talk to you guys at the end of a tough game when we should have won, or we had it right there and something broke down. It's like, why did you do that? So I'm not gonna miss that either.
So I'll mention real quick. So a quick fact for some of the just folks at home, coaches call in to the Daily News office, some more than others, for our prep roundup, and Raleigh, in 12 years, I don't believe has ever missed a single phone call. And there have been some nights where I'm sure you would have rather just gone to bed, and not a single missed phone call. And I think Josh, just for this year, tallied up about a week or two ago, Josh Hart, sports editor, tallied up coaches that hadn't missed a call just this one season. And there was... just off the top of my head, I want to say about just 5 programs out of 30 basketball programs, that had been consistent. And so, that's just one season. Rally Wallace, 12 seasons. So that shows, I think, about how much you've dedicated.
Yeah, I feel like the kids deserve to have their name in a paper if they did something well.
Mm-hmm.
The fans need to know what happened. And it's a respect for our kids, our parents, our family, and respect to you guys as well, that you guys, people are, why didn't they put that in the paper? Well, it's pretty hard for you to put it in the paper when you don't have it. And you know what? It's what we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to say anything about me, I've always done, pretty much what I was supposed to do.
Okay, perfect. And then my final question, this is kind of the save the best for last. What's your favorite coaching moment, whether it's here at high school level, middle school level, like you said, 4th grade kids? What's your favorite single moment?
That's a dumb question.
That's a tough question, isn't it? It's probably hard to pick
No, it's
one,
not.
Right? Okay.
It's beating Mark Morris last year.
Okay. All right. I thought that might be it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a lot of great moments, trust me, but because there had been so many years of heartache, being so many years of knocking on the door to finally get that one, that's a shining moment for me.
All right. Excellent. Well, there it is. Preps Plus Podcast, episode 32. Rally Wallace, thank you for your time. Thanks for your dedication to the community.
Jason, you're doing an awesome job. I really appreciate you guys. It's so nice to work with you, and you guys have been really humble and allow us to, it's not always, you don't always have good things to say, when games are tough, you don't really know what to say, but you guys do a great job. We've had lots of guys come through in the past in the media, but you guys, really the group that you have over there, do a really good job of making sure that we don't knock kids down too much, and you guys have done a great job with that.
All right. Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to Sterling Auto Group, and we'll see you next time.